Welcome back to the first episode of the anti-discrimination series that I'm creating. In this episode, I want to talk about myself and my personal experiences, because those of you who are watching this will wonder why I'm talking about this, because most people see me and assume things about me. Some of my acquaintances who don't know me very well have remarked on social media that I am a white privileged male. And it's very funny because I'm not white genetically, and I just happen to have slightly fairer skin. Maybe these lights and everything makes me look whiter than I am, but genetically I'm definitely not considered Caucasian. We won't go into genetics because I've had a few DNA tests done and they came back completely weird and it doesn't make any sense. For example, just a little bite into that, I am 44% Mongolian according to my DNA tests. So who knows how I look like this when I am nearly half Mongolian. Anyhow, let's move on to the actual issues. So when I was a child, I was abused, and both physically and to a degree sexually. I wasn't raped, but I was living in the Middle East and I was touched up by numerous men in shopping malls, taxis, wherever they could find me away from my parents. It was just normal for whatever reason. And I won't name countries because I think I don't want to start another hatred and discrimination against certain nations because of a certain group of people who did things. As I grew older, I lived in numerous countries. My parents moved around from country to country, and I lived in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East, various parts of Europe and America. The first place we moved to was the Middle East, and I found that to be extremely racist. To be a small, different looking kid, you were up for grabs, for abuse from fellow kids, fellow people, adults. And when I told my parents, they didn't really believe me. So I experienced a lot of sexual abuse and also open discrimination. People calling me a Paki, a Hindi, which I assume they meant Indian, and some people called me Mexican. So there was all kinds of abuse that I got in the Middle East. Then I was very fed up of it, and my parents decided that it would be better to send me to a boarding school nearby, where it was a few hours flight from where they lived, and I could be probably happier. They sent me to this country in Southeast Asia where I went to a private boarding school, which was supposed to be a good one with good reputation, and it was quite expensive. But no, I was constantly mocked. I was called half-caste, I was short, people remarked on my nose being really big. It was like relentless attacks. Some people did it out loud maliciously, like heckling on the street as I was driving past or on my bicycle, and others who were in my school would just say it as a joke, as if they didn't really mean it in a bad way, but those sly jokes where you know that subconsciously and in their mind they're being racist, but they're trying to make a joke out of it. Being of a different religion was a big problem, and I got a lot of abuse for that. All those things that happened to me, I tried to bury them in my past and left it to the fact that, okay, those people were ignorant. But I have to say that when people talk about the West and they say, oh, in England, for example, people are very racist and we suffer and all that, I look completely different in the society here, and I'm a minority. I'm gay and I look like this, so I don't blend into any crowd. But I think in all my life, the 25 years that I've lived in England, I don't think I've ever experienced the kind of racism that I can even remember. where someone discriminated. I think the only couple of times I was discriminated upon was because of my sexuality, for being gay, but never for my race. Most people ask me, oh, where are you from? And it kind of appears as a racist question, because it shouldn't matter where I'm from if I speak English, and if I look like this, it shouldn't be the question. But I just say, okay, they want to know, they're curious as to where I come from. The other thing that I always highlight when I tell people is, if you're Chinese, if you're Indian, if you're Mexican, if you're Black, Hispanic, or any other race that is clearly visible, people know instantly, and they don't ask a Black people, are you Black? So it just shows, whereas being gay is something that doesn't show unless you're overtly camp. So that's another part of discrimination that we have to deal with, being gay, where people make remarks and jokes about gay people and sexuality, but they don't know if you don't look overtly gay that you're gay. And I have experienced firsthand a lot of racism and discrimination in different countries, and all my life I've tried to ignore it and think it doesn't matter. People are okay. Generally, they're a small minority of people who are just ignorant, perhaps. I wanted to make this series because I think that there are so many people out there who are going through this, and they experience and they talk about what happened to them, but in small tits and bits. I'm not saying that I can fix the world, and I'm not saying I'm a genius when it comes to these, but I have a few ideas which I would like to share with you. Hopefully it will help change the lives of others and make it easier and better for them. So discrimination isn't just about your skin color. Discrimination happens at all kinds of levels. Me being really short, I'm 175 or 176 centimeters, I'm 5'8". So in the normal Western world, I'm quite short. I used to get remarks about my height, but obviously not here. I want to highlight that people think that the Western world is racist. It's not. All these remarks I got were in the countries that moan about being attacked with racism. So, but yeah, there's nothing I can do to change it. I have a big nose, and when I lived in the Middle East and Asia, people just made fun of my nose, most of the time as a joke, comparing me to elephants and other animals, and just making it sound like it was fun, and that I just laughed because there was nothing I could do. These are the kind of things that hurt you deep inside, but you can't really address them because you're born in a certain way, and that's it. You are who you are, and you just have to live with it. So in this world of political correctness, I think you have to be a Black disabled lesbian and then say something where people won't jump down your throat, because otherwise, even these videos that I'm making, I'm sure I will get lots of abuse from people telling me, oh, you are this and that and the other, therefore what you're saying is not important. Finally, one last bit that I want to add here is, I am a completely self-made person. I come from a family where we didn't have a lot of money to begin with, but then from the age of 16, I have been pretty much supporting myself. Everything that I own, every toothpick in my house and my life, everything I have earned myself, it's all hard work. So when someone tells me you're white privileged, for me it's a joke. It's not even, I don't even take it seriously, because privilege means things were handed to you on a plate. Things were easy. I had no privileges in my life. I was beaten up as a child until I was 14, 15, every single day. I was sexually abused. I was ridiculed. I had so many issues. I actually know why I'm so ambitious and why I've worked so hard in my life, because of all these cruel things that happened to me. They made me tough and resilient, and I wanted to prove to the world that I'm better than that and I can achieve things in my life. And I have, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not going to justify it. So whoever thinks that I am privileged is actually wrong, and in my opinion, lazy and incapable of doing things in their life. So therefore they think that picking on someone else's hard work makes them feel satisfied by their own incompetence. All this abuse and suffering that I went through in my life actually didn't make me a bitter and cruel person. It made me a softer and kinder and nicer person. So thanks for watching this little introduction about me. Now I will start making the rest of the series where I will talk about what we can do and how we can change things. So if you haven't seen the introduction to the whole series, you can go watch that. And then everything is numbered and it has parts, so you can go and you can follow it through. And please share it with people, because I hope this message gets to more and more people around the world.